up, y'all? I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for coming back for yet another week. So today, this is an update on my Scotts ProVista St Augustine grass that you guys will remember I had planted. It's been October of last year, so coming up here on the 7th month since I've had this installed. And I wanted to go ahead and give you an update and remind you that this video is sponsored by Bethel Farm. So I want to go ahead and provide what I'm calling a 6-month update here on my Scotts ProVista St Augustine grass and let you know kind of some of the things that I've learned about it as I've been working with it, as well as tell you that yes, I have sprayed weeds on it, and yes, I did test it, and yes, the fact that they say it's glyphosate tolerant is true. But I want to give you a lot more information on it. I want to tell you a lot of the things I've noticed, again, since working with it over the last 6, almost 7 months now. So the first thing is color. It's definitely automatically out of the box, I'm saying, deeper, darker green. In fact, I tend to see dark green lawns as even a little bit blue. And the ProVista definitely has a darker blue tinge to it, especially when I look at it with my polarized sunglasses. That being said, if you look here at the backyard where I've got it installed, this is me mowing just a couple days ago, and I have not put any fertilizer down since January. So this is already past the middle of May here. This hasn't had any fertilizer in about 5 months, and you can see the color is still holding stronger, deeper, darker green, and even blue compared to my neighbor's Floratam. Now his Floratam is also riddled with sedges, which we'll talk about in a little bit later here. I've also got a small spot in my front yard that I've been treating a little bit differently, and you can see it here. This is what it looks like in full sun about 2 weeks after an application of Milorganite at 0.72 pounds per thousand. That color is really raging dark, and I can tell you that when people walk by, they are definitely looking at it. They're definitely staring at it. It definitely stands out against all the other Floratam yards in my area here. Now, as far as growth, one of their unique selling propositions, one of the things that the Scotts folks really want me to talk about is that it's a low mow type turf grass, and I can tell you they are not wrong when they say that. They are not exaggerating. So I got a little lazy from mid-March to mid-April, also sprayed some weeds in between there and let it grow for 4 full weeks. Here you can see me taking it down during the first cut. That's a 4-inch height of cut on the left, and that's the 4 full weeks of growth on the right. Keep in mind, not the hottest time of the year, but still not too bad. High 70s, low 80s here going March into April. And you can definitely see that it doesn't grow quite that fast. To give you a comparison, here's my Floratam during that same time with just 7 days of growth. So if you're somebody that's looking for a low maintenance turf, and when I say low maintenance, I mean not having to mow it as often, this is definitely a consideration for you. Now, I've still been mowing it weekly, but I will say that it's been nice when I have had times when I might get some rain or I might have to be out of town or whatever. If I need to skip the backyard and just make sure I'm taking care of the front yard, hey, no harm, no foul, you know what I'm saying? So I have taken advantage of the fact that the grass grows just a little bit slower over there in the backyard. Thanks, Scotts ProVista St Augustine grass. And then finally, let's talk about weed control. That's the one everybody wants to know. And the first thing I want to say is that yes, Scotts ProVista is glyphosate tolerant. However, it's not Superman grass. And when I say that, I mean anything that is not labeled to be sprayed on St Augustine grass cannot be sprayed on your Scotts ProVista. One example I like to use is quinclorac. We can use that as a post-emergence weed control for crabgrass, but you cannot use it in St. Augustine grass, and you definitely cannot use it in Scotts ProVista. It is not tolerant to that. It will turn it crispy red in a couple of days. But you can see overspray from my quinclorac that did get onto the ProVista, and this answers a question. A lot of people think, well, ProVista is bulletproof because it can handle glyphosate, and the answer is no. This is susceptible to all of the same things that Floratam is, including quinclorac. You cannot use quinclorac on any St. Augustine grass at all. And you can see I got some here because I sprayed up to that and some overspray, and you can see the ProVista's damaged. See the red there? That's from quinclorac right there. The idea being is that, yes, this grass does have one superpower, and that's glyphosate tolerance, but it's not overall a bulletproof Superman grass. Just think about it that way. Now, speaking of glyphosate, I also want to say, and this was pointed out to me by Steve Kelly, who's the station chief at the Apopka Research Center of Scotts. I call it their proving ground. It's where you can go out and see all their different tests that they're running on all kinds of things, and it's really, really interesting out there. And I was talking to Trevor and Lucas, who are a couple guys I work with out there, and just talking about some different strategies and things, and I brought up the challenges that I've had in the past with doveweed, and I said, wow, it's so great now that folks in Florida have glyphosate to control doveweed. And Steve spoke up and he said, wait a minute, glyphosate does not control doveweed. And that taught me something because I had never thought about that. Now, I knew that glyphosate also will not control Kalinga and sedges, but I didn't know about the doveweed issue. And what that brings up is a very good point, that glyphosate is a tool that we have, and it's a tool that we have to keep torpedo grass and wild Bermuda grass out of our St. Augustine lawns, because you now have a glyphosate-tolerant turf grass. However, it doesn't keep everything out. It is also not the Superman cure. You're still going to need to use sound turf management practices. And when it comes to doveweed and kalinga or sedges, which we have a lot of here in Florida, you're going to use Pennant Magnum as your pre-emergent and maybe Sedgehammer as your post-emergent. You're still going to need to use those tools wisely while bringing in the glyphosate when you need it. Now, I needed it because I did have wild Bermuda invading, which is one of the challenges that I've had in my lawn all around. And one thing I want to say there is that you need to be careful when you spray, because I learned a lesson. And what the lesson was is that for some reason, when you're an experienced applicator, or any of you that have any experience spraying at all, for some reason, spraying glyphosate on your good turf grass, it's against your natural instincts, even though you know that it's labeled properly. And I do have a 41% glyphosate product that is labeled for use in tolerant St. Augustine grass, in this case, Scotts ProVista, but you can use any 41% glyphosate product and you'll be good. But what I learned is that because it's against your inner instincts to spray glyphosate on good turf grass, you end up spraying light. It's just a thing. I've talked to some other pros that have also had that same thing where it just doesn't feel right. It's just something you've been taught not to do for your whole life, and you've been so careful not to do it. Now that you are allowed to do it, or now that you can, you end up spraying light. So make sure if you do apply glyphosate for a problem such as torpedo grass or invading wild Bermuda grass in your Scotts ProVista, that you do get a good, proper, solid application all the way through. I was a little light-handed. I still got good control in most cases, but I am going to have to reapply again, and that's a lesson I learned, and I wanted to just make sure that you do the same thing. Be careful and get a good, solid application, and don't go light-handed with this. So for those of you up north, they also have a Scotts ProVista Kentucky Bluegrass, and that is available now. I'll put links in the description below to both the St. Augustinegrass and the Kentucky Bluegrass. And so with that, I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the lawn.